The chill of the far north clung to Jon Snow's cloak as he rode beyond the wall, Ghost padding silently at his side. The exile still stung, the sting of betrayal, the bitterness of duty. He had chosen honor, chosen the realm over his own name, and in return, he had been cast away. The wilderness stretched endlessly, the frozen wastes consuming all sound except the crunch of hooves and the low growl of his direwolf. Yet on this night, something stirred that was not of his world. The air shimmered. At first Jon thought it was the ghostly flicker of the aurora, but the light pulsed, swirling into a tear that hung in the sky like a wound. Ghost bristled, growling deep in his throat. Jon reached for Longclaw, though instinct told him a blade would be useless. The rift widened, and a force unlike any magic of the children or the White Walkers pulled at him. There was no time to resist. Horse, rider, and direwolf were dragged into the abyss. When Jon awoke, he was not in snow, but metal. Towers of durasteel stretched above him, glittering with endless lights. Speeders roared past in lines of fire. The air smelled of smoke, fuel, and civilization, unlike anything he had known. Ghost whimpered, restless. Jon rose slowly, scanning the strange city. Banners of the Republic hung from buildings, and everywhere, armored men in white patrolled with mechanical precision. Coruscant. Jon had no name for it, but he felt its pulse. Millions of souls pressed into one world, their voices humming like a storm. Lost and disoriented, Jon wandered, yet fate, ever cruel and strange, guided him to a place where another soul was at war with itself. Anakin Skywalker stood alone in the Jedi Temple hangar, watching clones load supplies for another campaign. His mind was elsewhere. Words whispered by the Chancellor weighed heavily. The Jedi are plotting against me. The Jedi want to take over the Republic. They will betray you as they betrayed me. Yet something inside him resisted. Palpatine's voice was honey, but it carried poison. Padmé's face came to him, luminous and soft, her hand on his cheek. She believed in the Republic, in the Jedi, in him. Could they all truly be traitors? That was when Anakin saw him, a man in black furs, sword on his back, and a white beast at his side. The clones raised their rifles at once, but Jon lifted his empty hands. "I mean no harm," Jon said firmly, his accent strange. Anakin gestured for the soldiers to lower their weapons. Something in the stranger's eyes struck him, a weariness, an honesty he'd rarely seen outside Obi-Wan. "You're far from home," Anakin said carefully. Jon gave a wry smile. "Aye, you could say that." Over the next days, Jon remained at Anakin's side, for there was nowhere else to go. The Jedi were suspicious, but Anakin vouched for him. The clones muttered about the beast, but Ghost's silent watchfulness kept them at bay. Jon listened more than he spoke, yet when he did, his words cut like steel. One evening, as they walked through the temple gardens, Anakin confessed his doubts. "The Chancellor says the Jedi are plotting treason, that they'll overthrow the Senate." Jon frowned. "I've served lords who spoke the same. They whisper of traitors in every shadow, until you trust no one but them. That's how they keep you loyal." Anakin's jaw tightened. "You don't understand. He's been like a father to me. He's the only one who believes in me." "I knew a man like that," Jon said quietly. "He called himself king. Promised me the world if only I'd kneel. But every word he spoke twisted me further from who I was. By the time I saw the truth, it was almost too late." Anakin studied him, unsettled. Jon's story was foreign, yet achingly familiar. Days turned to weeks. The Chancellor pressed harder, planting seeds of distrust. He whispered that only through him could Anakin save Padmé from her visions of death. He spoke of powers the Jedi would never teach. And one evening, as the city burned orange with sunset, Palpatine let slip something new. "The clones," he said smoothly, "will do what must be done. With a single order, they will cleanse the Jedi, should they turn against us." Anakin froze. "Cleanse the Jedi?" Palpatine smiled faintly. Of course, did you think them mere soldiers? They were bred with purpose, to serve the Republic, and me. Anakin left in silence, but his soul was in uproar. That night, he found Jon waiting on the temple balcony. "They mean to kill the Jedi," Anakin said hoarsely. Jon's hand clenched on Longclaw's hilt. "And you? What will you do?" "I don't know," Anakin admitted. "The Jedi, my friends, they've fought beside me, bled beside me. But if the Chancellor commands the clones..." Jon stepped close. "Then find the truth. Don't take his word. Search for it yourself." It was the push Anakin needed. With Jon's aid, he infiltrated the archives, slicing into restricted Kaminoan files. Nights turned into frantic searches, until at last they found it. The inhibitor chips, the contingency orders. And there it was, hidden among hundreds of coded commands. Order 66. Execute Order 66. In the event of Jedi treason, the Grand Army of the Republic shall eliminate them immediately. Anakin's blood ran cold. The Chancellor had planned it all. Every battle, every campaign, every death. They had only been pawns for this final betrayal. He slammed the console with his fist. "He's been lying to me, to everyone." Jon placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "Then do what must be done. Change it. End it." Anakin's mind raced. He had spent years with machines, starfighters, droids. He knew their code, their language. If the clones' orders came through encrypted holonet relays, then perhaps... Yes, he could rewrite it. Working in secret, Anakin accessed the relay beneath the Chancellor's own offices. With his mechanical arm interfacing directly with the conduit, he sifted through the code. Line after line of hidden commands scrolled past his vision. Palpatine's voice echoed in his head. "The Jedi are traitors. They must be destroyed." "No," Anakin whispered. "Not the Jedi, not Padme, not Obi-Wan." He found Order 66, glowing like a poison vein. His fingers flew across the panel. With sweat dripping, breath ragged, he rewrote the command. "Execute Order 66. In the event of Sith treason, the Grand Army of the Republic shall eliminate the Chancellor immediately." The altered directive rippled across the network, unseen, unnoticed. Anakin collapsed back, drained but resolute. Jon helped him to his feet. "You've turned his own weapon against him," Jon said. Anakin nodded grimly. "Now we wait." And the day came. In the Senate chamber, as war reports flooded in, Palpatine rose, voice booming. "The Jedi have betrayed us. Execute Order 66. Across the galaxy, clones received the command. But instead of turning on the Jedi, their HUDs flashed with a new directive. Enemy target, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. Confusion swept the Senate as clones raised rifles, not at Jedi, but at the Chancellor himself. Blaster fire erupted. Palpatine roared, his disguise shattering as lightning poured from his hands. Senators screamed. Clones fell, fried by Sith power, but more pressed forward. "You!" Palpatine snarled, his yellow eyes fixing on Anakin. "What have you done?" "I ended your war," Anakin said, igniting his lightsaber. Jon stood at his side, Longclaw gleaming. "Your reign ends here." The duel was fury. Lightning crackled, blades clashed, the Senate collapsing into chaos. Ghost leapt, tearing into guards. Clones swarmed, firing relentlessly. Palpatine fought like a storm, hurling senators aside with waves of dark power, but together they pressed him back. Anakin's strength, Jon's ferocity, and the relentless tide of clones finally overwhelmed the Dark Lord. With a final cry, Palpatine unleashed a storm of lightning, only for Longclaw's ancient steel to catch it, the blade glowing white with the power. Jon staggered, but held firm, as Anakin drove his saber through the Chancellor's chest. The galaxy shuddered. Silence fell. The Senate lay in ruins. Palpatine was gone. In the aftermath, Jedi and clones stood bewildered. The Republic teetered, leaderless. Yet the purge had been averted. Hope, fragile but alive, flickered once more. On the steps of the temple, Jon stood with Anakin, ghost pressed against his leg. "You saved us all," Anakin said quietly. Jon shook his head. "You saved yourself. I only reminded you of who you were." A wind stirred, strange and cold. The rift returned, opening like a wound in the air. Ghost whined. "It's time," Jon murmured. Anakin gripped his arm. "Stay. We could use you." Jon smiled faintly. "My war is elsewhere. My watch is not yet done." With that, he stepped into the rift, Ghost at his side. The light swallowed them, and they were gone. Anakin stood alone, the weight of destiny heavy on his shoulders. But this time, he had chosen differently, and across the stars, the Jedi lived.